get right to our Kyiv correspondent, Gulliver Cragg. Gulliver, we know you've been hearing sirens there in the capital. You had to take cover at one point. What's happening now?
Well, I took cover when I was in the center, Shevchenko Park, which was one of the places that was hit. And because the air alert signal had been switched off, I was no longer wearing my flak jacket and helmet. The sirens went off and I went back to get them. And I've been sheltering in the metro station behind me, along with lots of other people. That's what the mayor of Kyiv, Vitaly Klitschko, recommended people do. So I've been also talking to people who were sheltering down there. And I spoke to one couple who just came back at the beginning of October, having been away from Ukraine for many long months after the invasion, thinking that maybe now in Kyiv it was safe and that they could get back to some kind of normal life. That's been shattered for them now. I also spoke to some young people there who were very optimistic, though, who said that Ukraine absolutely has to carry on fighting, that these strikes are a sign of desperation and in a way a sign of weakness by the Russians, that they can't do anything other than hit at civilian infrastructure. These young people had a very blasé attitude to the possibility of a nuclear strike. He said, one young man, that, well, if there's a nuclear strike, we'll all die immediately and won't know anything about it, and if not, then we'll be fine. I wasn't sure whether it was the right thing to do, but I told him that it's possible that if there's a nuclear strike, you'll get seriously ill with radiation sickness and could be a very low, strong, painful, long, slow, painful death. I mean, the fear of possible nuclear strike is very present in Ukraine, but I think in some quarters people are seeing these conventional strikes today as evidence that the Russians haven't actually really got anything more than this up their sleeve. At least that's the attitude I've heard from some people, those who are trying to put a brave face on things.
Well, Kyiv was not the only place targeted by the Russians today, as we know. What has been the reaction from Ukrainians there in the capital to not only those attacks there, but across the country?
I would say the main emotion that I hear people wishing to express is anger. Obviously, people are afraid. Obviously, people are saddened. But what they really are is just really, really angry with Russia about these attacks. And a lot of people are at pains to underline that they don't just blame Vladimir Putin, but that they blame all Russians. And they blame Russians for putting Vladimir Putin there, rightly or wrongly. That is an attitude that is very, very frequently expressed by Ukrainians after strikes like this. And perhaps it's an indication of the kind of anger and also vindictive spirit and spirit of defiance that people are feeling. That one man who I asked in Shevchenko Park what he thought Ukraine's reaction to these attacks should be, he simply said, we should bomb that Crimea bridge again. Though I hasten to add, Ukraine's defense ministry has cast doubt on the idea that these strikes are in retaliation for the attack on the bridge, because according to them, their intelligence shows that Russia was planning these attacks actually earlier than those explosions happened.
Okay, our Kyiv correspondent, Gulliver Cragg. Gulliver, thanks for your reporting, and please stay safe out there.